And I'll record it here and then I'll post it later. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We'll have to work on sometimes.
All right. Sorry. Connect it back over here. There you go. I just saw it. I just saw it. Yeah.
Yeah, the laser's working, but the
Now we'll advance.
clicker's not.
Gracious. Right here.
Ooh.
Went to sleep.
All right, so 3 bedrooms, then you've got the layout of the buildings, you know, the elevations, what they look like. So there's different building types, and then you've got the layout of the elevations of the community center. So happy to answer the question. It's this year.
I was just gonna ask if there's a specific demographic that you're going for. Is it senior housing? It looked like there was some accessibility on that.
So it'll be regular apartments. This is not a senior property, it's for family.
I failed to mention that this would be in line with those of you that were on the board previously. This thing's been approved 3 other times with other applicants for workforce housing. And it's the credit program, and it's the same type of program.
So that's on that same, you're trying to get the credits for the housing and stuff. So I mean, somebody else can explain it better than me, but like they'll get credits for making workforce housing for stuff like that. And they'll have to go through the application process and kind of go back through that whole and then hopefully get selected. But we're just moving up the list.
It's extremely competitive.
Right.
Extremely.
Yeah, so this is a, yeah, we've approved it once or twice.
So
since I've
now this
been-
is the 4th time.
I know, I was like, since I've been on, maybe one. Yeah, I think I remember like the very first time on board, I approved it. Twice.
Well, the good thing for Jackson County is that this year, the agency, the #1 tiebreaker, because it's so competitive, they've ranked the counties by number. And actually Jackson is number 9 out of 100 for the highest cost burden renters in the county. And so that's going to be the first tiebreaker, which is why we started, looking here, because you guys are, you said it, moving up the list, and they see that Jackson has not had any units in many years.
Is workforce housing a legal term? Is that a term that's used by definition somewhere, or is that just a term that we use?
Well, it's not, well, yes, because, and Kathy can probably explain it more, you have to have income. You have to live there, and as your income changes, as you increase, if you start out in 1 bedroom and your household income increases, there's a ceiling there, and you can't hold on to that 1 bedroom forever. If you're making too much money, you have to move to the next level, whether it be a 2-bedroom. Is that correct?
Not necessarily, but there is an income, there's a limit, and it is sort of, it gets really technical. The IRS actually makes the rules for this program. And once a person is in, they can actually, their income can go up to 130%. And after that, then you have to move them to another unit. So basically what you said is right, but there's some technicalities there. But the workforce housing, and I'm not an attorney, so I don't want to answer that technically, but it's what it's called, because a lot of, like John said, the folks that are living there are working families that, are working and, just like we all are, and pay rent. They're paying their own rent. It's not subsidized rents. Now, some of them we can partner with other agencies and get vouchers for folks. And so that's helpful. But the bottom line is the rents that we charge, they are responsible for those rents.
It's not Section 8, it's not.
Exactly. It's not Section 8. It's not HUD. It's not going to be managed, it'll be managed by a private management company. So it's different. There is a difference. And a lot of people don't understand that, but there is a big difference.
Any other question?
Is this development any different from the last time we looked at it?
Yes, it's a different development. different
Layout, right?
applicant,
I
yes.
mean,
Buildings are different, the rooms are different, the amenities are different. Oops. Amenities are different. It's just a different setup. Now, keep in mind, this is still kind of fluid. This isn't a final plan, so things may get shifted, the entrance may get shifted. I personally, and DOT is really gonna have the final say in this, and not fond of an entrance in the S curve. But those things can be, if these pieces of the puzzle shift, that overall is not gonna change the development standards that will be applied in the future before they get the zone.
Did we discuss two?
We did last time
Yeah.
because there's a shelf here. So that's, you can see here, they have a wall. Kind of into this, so. Of course, I don't have a grading plan to look at to tell you for sure, but my thought would be that this right here, this retaining wall, this brings this down to about the same level, which that's why there's one entrance. Before, there was two. There was one here to get up on the upper level, and then we had a main entrance down here that served the majority of the project. I think when they dumped that, that was on their plan. We had a main entrance here that snaked through and then went out on the interior. This is a little bit different layout because of the grading, I suspect, but once the civil engineer gets deep in the weeds, they'll. Well, they'll do some value engineering.
Screw it up, probably.
They'll do the value engineering and figure it out.
So since we talked like Skyline Drive is a racetrack at times. So is Savannah at times. And it's curvier, obviously. Do you suspect any kind of, what's your idea of the impact on Savannah Drive? The addition of a sidewalk there is certainly helpful. And John, yes, we love the little sidewalk that was placed across the street. But the impact on Savannah, what do you think? No, none, little.
It's 48 units, so it's hard to say, but typically when we've had to do traffic studies in the past for units for projects that small, you don't really see an impact. But I don't want to say that, honestly.
I'll say it. So DOT is not going to require a TIA for this traffic.
I don't know.
This is such a low impact. And you have apartments pretty much all around here. You've got apartments on this side, you have some across the street,
Correct.
you have some over in this area of Savannah. It can get a little chippy, especially with motorcycles that zip through here because of this stretch of road. It does keep you honest. Matter of fact, if you drive this, people tend to go from here straight across. You can see actually that right there. That they kind of make their own off-roading. But
I've never done that when I was,
that would change.
I never did that when I was 16, so I don't know what you're talking about. I couldn't start.
So to answer your question, it's going to be not, obviously there'd be more cars on the road in this general area, but it's a low impact because of the use.
Depends on where those people work. If they work east of Main Street, they'll go up Savannah and they will be downtown. They work to the west, they'll just go up to West Main Street. So it's hard to know.
I would venture to guess that anybody that works downtown is still going to take Main Street. They're not going to go through, all the way up and around because that's going to be.
Well, if they're out like towards the university or something.
Yeah, they'll still take that.
They're probably taking it anyway, so now.
No, but if they live, the new people. I sometimes go River Road just to get around them. Go down the Yellowbird Bridge.
Yeah, it's a relief valve, so yeah.
They never know. Just, there's no way to predict.
But keep in mind, that's not really what we're discussing tonight. It's really just the use and the conditionals over here.
But the other ones that came before didn't get anywhere because of this process. It didn't get to.
She has to move on to the state with another application. It's a very competitive.
It didn't have anything to do with.
It has nothing to do with us. Yeah, we've rubber stamped it, go.
Yeah.
Every time it's done before we're down.
All in, yeah, it's all about what all we talk about is finding more houses. Yes, we need more housing.
And it's a point system, right?
Right.
You have to have everything, they have to check all the boxes, we're close to
Meets our goals.
grocery and all that kind of stuff. So if it checks all those boxes at the state level, you're better off. And then, of course, it sounds like we're moving up on the low end scale. So I guess that,
We didn't have, I don't recall having the overlay at that time too.
we did, it was a special.
So that's it, so that's right. You know, things we have to prove it.
Have we ever heard from the adjacent partial residential that are maybe like, are those single family homes for Savannah?
There's a multifamily right here, and there's a cemetery, so we got quiet neighbors there, but there was, I think, the last time when we had that horrible meeting in the park. The day before Good Friday, it was freezing. We did have some residents that showed up and expressed some concern, but it wasn't totally negative, but.
Mostly about traffic, right?
Yeah, it usually goes that way, but, and I think it's an education too. I think it's is it low income versus workforce and what does that mean and that kind of thing. So there's usually the unknown, I guess, that folks are just talking.
It looks like with the current plan too, like most of the buildings are gonna be there's gonna be quite a buffer between the main buildings and like those.
Well, if it goes like this,
Yeah, if it goes
like this, I suspect once this is gonna change, I would think. But yeah, there's a pretty good buffer between this property line, which is not developed, and their closest building, so they're not pushing it all the way up to the back of the property line.
Rubber stamp it again.
Any other questions? Get a motion for approve?
So we also include the statement of consistency that needs to be approved as well.
Okay.
And then we'll go back and do that.
Okay. Let me read this.
Yeah, the motion can include.
And include the, yeah.
Oh, yeah, motion to include statement of consistency pursuant to GS 160D.
We really can just.
Yeah, read the bulletin. We find the proposed amendment to be consistent with key drivers of the plan for Sylva identified on page 20 of the corridor specifications found on page 29 of the Town of Sylva 2040 land use plan. The term driver refers to a top planning consideration that shapes the plan for Sylva. More specifically, point A, driver 2 is providing diversity in housing choices to align with the vision. Sylva needs a wide range of housing options to attract the full range of employees necessary for existing and future employers and service providers. In addition, providing a wider range of housing provides more options for Sylva residents as they age over time, allowing residents to stay in their community as they age in place. Diversifying the mix of housing types in Sylva would offer more choices to the consumer. Urban neighborhoods. The urban neighborhood character area includes existing residential and new areas where it is envisioned that reinvestment in the community can and will occur. Focus on things such as walkability to downtown Sylva and the town's other commercial areas. Higher density residential units and live work units are included in the urban neighborhoods. This parcel lies in the town's ETJ area directly adjacent to the urban neighborhood corridor area of the Town of Sylva 2040 land use plan. Therefore, consider the proposed zoning map amendment to be reasonable and in public interest. So can I have a motion to approve this amendment and to approve the, do I need to read both of these? Okay, 2 copies, sorry. So I'm gonna have a motion to approve the statement of consistency along with the amendment for this product. All in favor? So approved. All right, awesome. While we're doing that,
Go back to.
we need to go back to the last one. Oh, okay.
Just do, yeah.
Okay, so this is Scotland, this is consistency for the last parcel we did. The first amendment on our agenda, proposed amendment to be consistent with the land for Sylva corridor specifications found on page 34 of the Town of Sylva 2040 land use plan, more specifically the Scotland mixed use corridor. The requested map amendment would not constitute spot zoning, as the subject properties will be in accordance with the town's adopted land use plan for 2040. This plan establishes that these properties, as well as the entire professional business district, will be in the future Skyline Mixed Use Corridor District. Encouraged land use for these future districts include mixed use development, residential, live work, multifamily, townhomes, small lot, single family, neighborhood commercial, small scale restaurant and breweries, small scale hotels, civic and educational uses that support the community residents and open space. Therefore, consider the proposed zoning map amendment to be reasonable in the public interest. So can I have a motion for the statement of consistency to deal with the first map amendment?
So moved.
All in favor? It is approved. Just stop me, I didn't know I needed to do that.
That's okay. Both are, both happen.
Wasn't- Awesome.
Thank you.
Rolling right along, we have a. I go back to the top of the agenda. If I'm not- Street closure request, a portion of Pathfinder Lane.
So this is new that it's coming before the planning board. These requests in the past used to just go to the town board. So they're called paper streets. In the 1920s and 30s, they were laid out on flats when a development was put out on surveys and deeds. And the right of way was reserved either for the towns to build future streets or for the developer to build future streets. So Pathfinder Lane, it runs behind 107 parallel near UPS. But there is a section that was never opened that curves around in front of the old Soul Infusion down to 107, where the UPS trucks park now. In 2018, UPS requested the town close this, and the board denied it because there was opposition from the residents, for one thing. And then the other reason was it also went up to Walter Ash. They wanted two sections closed. And there was questions about what UPS would do with the property. So now the owners of the Soul Infusion parcel have the manufactured homes along to behind it and to the so they're making the request now. And is it due? When I spoke with them, it was due to the 107 expansion cutting into the front of their lot. And Melissa asked to see the plans for 107. So yeah, if we could share those two together. On the so where I've got the arrow, it shows that person.
75?
Oh, yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
75?
So they own kind of the whole area, everywhere it says Kincaid around it.
See what you.
This is in,
Which is Pathfinder Lane?
it's the road that it shows that looks like an L going to 107. They're wanting to close the road permanently.
So they want to.
Yeah. It's.
This is UPS over here. So if by closing it, UPS would automatically absorb that land.
It's split down the center.
This was, oh.
If it's split currently, if it's running the property line, sometimes they don't run, maybe it's just on one property. So wherever it resides.
Yeah, looks like, yeah.
So right now, I know these people, okay, you can see this better on the screen, where the red tape is, shows. Right now. We're still right behind it. That,
Right here, with the
Okay.
white.
Right there.
right now, the people have access from 107, Pathfinder, Holly Manor Court. They own the property behind it where Cornice Lane is.
These properties. Yes, on that, I think it's this property. I think it's this one over here, right?
So they own,
These,
yeah, so they own, that one's the left of it,
this one,
and then that whole,
yeah.
all the way back in the corner.
That's right, yep.
Yeah, all the way back in,
So we're not limiting their access.
as long as they own it.
Well, well, understand, this is even, it's not even access.
I think there's big.
It's an old platted road.
This way.
Yes. And in fact, they blocked the access
Oh, it's just-
from Pathfinder to keep people from going through the parking lot in front of the old Soul Infusion because they were kind of making a road.
Uh-huh.
Is it sold?
Who was making the road, the residents or
That's
just
all.
people driving in general?
Okay, so this is where they go, you cut in front, you're cutting across.
Yeah, there would be somewhere.
So just close there, just this out. That's the only part they want to close.
Yeah.
What? Guess my question is why did it kind of come back to us or did just the board want us to be aware of it? Or is that a new process?
It's a new process.
Okay, it's a new process. Okay,
So this board just still needs to make a recommendation to the town board on what to
Okay.
do with this.
okay.
Well, UPS would benefit from this too, wouldn't they? Because they would gain some property, some parking area.
Yes, and you can see they're parking in it now.
Yeah, they're bumping up a little bit, yeah. But they're gonna lose some road frontage, right, with the 107. So by gaining a little bit too, you know, from that.
Questions?
So it talks about the property owner in the back. Going through the property.
Are they cutting through Holly Minor Court? That little path there, is that what they're doing, cutting through there? Get back to the,
Yes,
How will the road be closed?
where the red is. won't be
I
a
mean,
road.
like, what are they gonna do to close it? Put signs up?
Yeah, they can do whatever they want to in it, now that the road doesn't have right. It's not private property, so they can do, now you can't technically close because it's a public road with a right of way. Now people are parking in it and using it, and nobody knows it's a road.
Right.
There's nothing, it's kind of one of those things. I think it's come to attention, I'm guessing, it's come to attention from reading that of people owning that this road was not closed, and like they're trying to close it now. So then in the trustees and the way they can move forward in the future, I'm guessing they can sell it without this right.
So this is in general business, right?
Yes.
Or
The
part of
ones
it's
up
in
High
PCR.
density.
Okay. Part of it's in high density. So for this property that is zoned, like further, at least the front part of it is general business, right? General
Yeah,
along
one's
the
on
back.
107, correct.
So. You'd be removing some potential roadways or right of ways through that? I mean, how would that impact future owners of the property?
Holly Manor Court would have a harder time getting the path.
They would have to go up and around, which is probably the desired. People live along here. Maybe that would be beneficial if we want to concentrate where people are accessing 107.
Yes.
Is there a light on Walter Ash?
There, yes.
It gets realigned with Cove Creek.
Oh, that's okay.
Different.
Let's eat some chicken.
What are the drawbacks to?
Just that the parcel would access less roads.
Would that make it less valuable potentially?
That's, in my opinion, I don't think it makes it
No.
less valuable. I don't think it does because, yes, you have more land area because right now that right of way is there.
There's an entitlement there now.
Yes, there's not.
That's not really well defined.
Right. It's very vague and very, so the Kincaid folks are trying to eliminate the vagueness of it for their future use and well-being as property owners.
Would having less access make it harder to develop? Future? Okay.
You still have access for them.
Hmm.
But if you want to the property or think on the property.
So you said MRA was denied before because it was more expensive?
They're the residents around it opposed it.
Because now they have, if it's approved, they have to drive further.
That was part of it, and part of it was just how they felt about UPS expanding.
Guessing they'll oppose it again?
Sure, we haven't had any calls so far.
When this goes to the town board, is this a public hearing? Yes. So we will hear from them then.
Right,
Like,
yeah.
Motion to approve closure. Second. All in favor?
Let them fight it out at a later time.
At the game.
It's awesome. That it on our agenda, other than I guess some personal news on my part, I don't know, when's our next board meeting?
May the 18th.
So I can still be, so May 18 will be my last board meeting. My family's moving away from Sylva, so I won't be living here anymore. We're in June 18th. We're gonna move to Asheville. My wife has been appointed to another church over in Asheville. So we'll be leaving Sylva. We're sad and happy all at the same time because it's a great place to be. And it's been a pleasure working with the board. So I'll still be here for the 18th meeting. We can do the other stuff I didn't know. So, but other than that, I don't have anything else. Anybody else have any questions?
I echo that we're sad and happy.
Anyway, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for everybody for being here. Exciting news.
Thank you, Larry.
Appreciate it. Yes, you do.
You can.